when I'm just sitting here, they're just gonna see me. Is this?
That's what I said.
Gonna shift a little bit.
They're watching it.
Yes, thank you.
They can still show.
Take care of your own. You got it, Kev.
Did you see the picture of the
Sit down, okay?
You see that,
morning, everyone. It really is my privilege that your family has asked me to lead you in a time where I can just help you express your memories of your wife, your mom, your grandma, and to just reflect on her and celebrate her life. It was Madeline's nature to gather people and to visit and to share a time together, and today is no different. As in her own way, she has gathered us to say goodbye, and we will reciprocate her goodness by sharing words of kindness and gratitude for her. An appreciative welcome on behalf of the family for all of you who are viewing live stream. Thank you so much for joining us, and we do appreciate your virtual attendance given the circumstances. It means a lot to the family. And I just encourage you, please let the family know that you're joining with them at this time. Send them an email, a text, a phone call, and certainly drive by the yard for an open house kind of drive-through from 12:30 to 1:30. The family would love to see you. This is a celebration to honor the life of Mady, reflecting on how we have been blessed and impacted by having known her, whether in small ways or in big ways. We do so with fondness. We do so with love. We may do so with a bit of fun. But it's also in the midst of sorrow that we do that, as we acknowledge that her loss marks that her physical presence will no longer be with us. And as such, tears have a place. The tears, however, are met with confidence that Madeline has found her eternal rest, where neither fear, nor tears, nor death, nor sorrow will ever touch her again. As such, we're going to have a time of reflection through song as Kevin plays for us. Just want to share a brief reflection. I'm going to begin by reading a passage from Psalm 36. Your love, Lord, reaches to the heavens, your faithfulness to the skies. Your righteousness is like the highest mountains, your justice like the great deep. You, Lord, preserve both people and animals. How priceless is your unfailing love, O God. People take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They feast on the abundance of your house. You give them drink from the river of delights. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. In this very brief passage, God is praised for steadfastness, faithfulness, righteousness, justice, salvation. And the text reveals that God's nature is one who welcomes people into shelter, like the wings of a bird, protection and comfort, bringing us where we find ourselves today, under his wings. God's goodness is a hospitable, nurturing, creating hope, because God's love is the very source of life. Not much unlike your wife, your mom, your grandmother. Hearing stories from the family, I wonder whether or not if she were a shopkeeper, if this scenario might apply. A shopkeeper, let's say it was her, had a beautiful shop on the street. And next door to her right was a very competitive business. And so they put up a sign, a great big sign on their shop that said, best quality. Well, this was rather upsetting for her, wouldn't you imagine? And wouldn't you know it, as she was getting a little flared up about that, the shop next door put up a big sign, also much of a competitor, lowest prices. Well, since she tends to be a bit of a competitor, always one up on everyone else, she sat down and she formulated a plan. She put up the biggest sign on her shop in the middle saying, main entrance. Whether it was getting the best deal at a garage sale, being savvy, coaching kids, competing to win baseball and tennis tournaments, she was going to win. She could be a prankster, which Steve learned early on in their honeymoon when Mady convinced him to go horseback riding. And while riding, she gave the horse quite the smack, sending him and the horse across the field, to which Stephen shared with me it scared the death right out of him.
Wasn't quite like that.
Wasn't quite like that. We're being as dramatic as we can. She was known for giving the gift of time, from what I understand, bringing people together, sharing kind words. And as Stephen recalls, Mady was always in a good mood, seldom got mad, upfront, honest, and trustworthy. Her approach to life was an open door, the main entrance, if you like. She was energized by relationship, hospitality, and it came naturally to her. She took the time, spent the energy, put in the effort into connecting with people. I'm not going to pretend that I know her and say she was a saint. Nobody was perfect. We all have our faults. But today, let's lean into the sainthood side. Because now that she's gone, we've come to realize that life has shifted, and we've been changed by her goodness. Feeling sorrow and grief is the risk of having loved. But having loved, I dare say, makes the risk of grieving worthwhile. Because love runs deep. It's the foundation, the reality that God is love. And that God disperses love to those undeserving. Never has God's love been granted or taken away based on how good or bad we are. It's unconditional because he's steadfast, he's faithful, he's righteous, he's just, making salvation available to us all with his protecting, comforting wing over each and every one of us and over you this morning. When we meet one so loving, it changes us. If I may quote Jeff Mannion, who says, "Your most defining moments in life are not what happened to you, but what the Creator did for you. When I remember that I am loved, I serve differently. When I remember that I am loved, I love differently. And when I remember who I am, I give differently." You see, what the Creator did was change us by giving us the gift of Mady. Much of what she did, the dinners she served, the coaching, the phone calls, these she did because she loved you unconditionally. like a mother bird protecting and bringing comfort. You are different because of her. Her legacy will and already has transformed you. She would be very pleased if by walking through the door that she opened up through her life, this main entrance, you might pick up where she left off. Taking the time, spending the energy, putting the effort into building relationships, being in a good mood, seldom get mad, be upfront, honest, and trustworthy. Madeline has given you what you need to carry on. And so we celebrate that she is now before God as the psalm notes, experiencing God's hospitality, feasting the abundance at God's house, drinking from the rivers of his delight, delighting in her God, the fountain of eternal life. And her nature will not change. She will be standing at the entrance, this main entrance of the abundant life, to welcome you all one day soon. May she rest in peace, and may we honor her today with your words. I invite the family to share those words and help us to know her a little better.
I would like to thank Lorraine for this beautiful message. I will be speaking for her. Words cannot explain the love I have for my Aunt Madeline. All I can say is she was a wonderful wife, mother, grandmother, aunt, and friend. She lit up the room when she entered. There was no one who loved life more, and she tried to squeeze every last second out of it. If she was having a bad day and you called her, you never knew it. She always had a cheerful hello for you that made you feel special and loved. When she loved you, you knew it and felt it and knew that she would always be there for you. Her family was the most important thing to her, and her love was unconditional. She was so proud of her grandchildren. They brought her so much love and happiness. Her children stood by her and cared for her when she needed it the most, which she told me filled her heart with more love and pride than she ever thought possible. She and Uncle had a deep and everlasting love stretching back to their teenage years. I'll never forget my favorite memory of them that has stuck in my mind all these years. They were in their 60s and were visiting us on Quigley Road. As they were leaving, Uncle took Auntie's hand as they crossed the street to where they were parked. To me, that simple gesture showed the love they had for each other and made me think, that is what I wish for myself. A beautiful lady has left us, but she will always live in our hearts and thoughts forever. Until we meet again, I love you, Auntie.
Have you ever had your 78-year-old grandma challenge you to a game of pool water polo? Well, that is one thing I can say I have had happen. She was a fun-spirited and very competitive person. She was always down for a challenge, and there was always something involved, whether it be money or bragging rights. This sweet, loving, kind soul is my hero and who I look up to. She's where all 5 of the grandchildren get their competitiveness, love for sports, and teamwork from. We love you and we'll never forget you, Big Red. Fly high, Angel.
I am speaking on behalf of my brothers, cousins, and myself. Thank you for the gift of love. Now you're sharing it up above. You have many things to say, all in a caring way. No matter how many times you told your stories, they will always hold a special place in our hearts. From the card games, to the garage sales, and the dancing moments, you have never failed to put a smile on our faces. The most wonderful gift you have ever given us was being you. Your laugh and your smile went a very long way. We are thankful to have you in our lives. I think of all the memories and our happy times together, and the kindness you brought into our life will never be forgotten. Your butter tarts were the best, but now it's time to rest. You gave us years of happiness, and you left us with beautiful memories. It's safe to say you hit your last home run to heaven. You are our grandma, and forever will be. There was never a dull moment with you. You lit up the room, and no matter how many times you lost in cards, you never stopped having a smile on your face. You lived an amazing life, and thank you for being our role model. You welcomed everyone with your warm hugs and soft kisses. You were so loved by so many, and on behalf of the grandchildren and I, we would like to say thank you for everything that you've done for us. We love you. Thank you. That's a hard act to follow. Okay, here we go. For my mom, my dear sweet mom. You lit up a room. There was not one place that I didn't take you that you did not strike up a conversation or meet someone new and tell them stories about our family. And some of them you could have kept to yourself. But thank you for that. You love meeting people and getting to know others. Those that met you liked you instantly. You were a magnet and the glue to our family. All our friends, co-workers, neighbors, employers, anyone who has met you have commented on how much you left an impression and touched their lives. In so many different ways, both big and small. Both were important. And I can say that the little things are the things that touched me the most. Words cannot express how much comfort our family has received from those who have called, sent an email, and told us how much you touched their lives and how much fun you had with them, and just who you were. I'm hearing stories that I have not heard before, and they're quite awesome. Who else can say that every morning on a Saturday or Sunday they had that 6:30 a.m. wake-up call on the weekends when it was you who just wanted to say hi, or you just happened to be in the neighborhood on Saturday morning at 6:30 a.m. When the phone rang at 6:30 a.m., my whole house would just yell, "Mom, would you pick up the phone? You know it's Grandma." And we had great laughs with that. I'm still in a little bit of shock that you're not here with all of us, Mom. I keep expecting you to walk through the door and express your arrival. "Hey, everybody!" or "I'm here!" And we'd all just kind of like smile and give you a hug. I want to let you know that my mom talked about lots of people in her life, and she talked about you often. I know she told many stories about my family because when I met my mom's friends, it was like they knew me. And shockingly, I knew them. I didn't have to have met you very long, and I always knew I had that connection. There was this connection that I cannot explain, but I knew it. So on that note, we'd like to let you know, please don't believe all the stories you've heard, just the good stuff. Or as my standard answer would be to some people, it's all good, right? It's all good. And I want to thank you all for being very gracious and replying, of course. We all know that Niall is the favorite son-in-law, and that he loved my mom's stories. And Niall learned very early that my mom's storytelling was unmatched to anybody else and almost borderline on embellishment. And we'll never forget the time when Niall first realized how her stories were so awesome. Because Niall was very enthralled with the story that involved me and how heroic I was, and that I saved someone's life. And then he realized, wait a minute, I was there. And no, Sherry did not drive a Maserati. It was a Mazda 323. And We all have this favorite saying from Grandma.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
We are filled with many memories, laughs, and experiences that most would never have taken the time to experience with their parents or grandparents. We are very blessed as a family to have had my mom in it. All of these memories are filled with one common theme, and that theme was what Nancy was talking about today. Her love for us. She loved so deeply each and every one of us, and that is something that moving forward that we'll always remember. From the garage sale finds to the dice games we played, to the fact we had to change some of the games, but now we can call it Up Yours. When the kids were 5 years old and Grandma was telling us how to play it and she screamed Up Yours, I thought maybe we should have a different name. So Up Yours became flippant for a very long time, but now it's a little bit socially acceptable with the age of our kids. We can call it Up Yours. We did play that over the summer, and my kids were a little bit shocked at how vocal Grandma got, because my neighbors could hear it next door. So from there to Let Her Ride, to helping her grandkids hit baseballs, to kicking the kids' butt on the tennis court, she actually thrived on if you couldn't do it and she could do it better. That was awesome. And that's shockingly where we get a little bit of our competitiveness from. So for those of you that know my family well, some of us have a little bit more quiet part of competitiveness, but it's there nonetheless. Did you know that Fortino sells a flatbread and that you can make the best rolled up sandwich with peanut butter and banana? And my mom was famous for her sandwiches for showers or any special occasion. And whenever I told her, I think Steve's coming down with the kids, she goes, oh, I better go to Fortino's and get my flatbread because London loves those sandwiches. And we would just have such a fun time. My mom had a second sense, as if she knew that you were hurt or you needed her. This uncanny sense of timing and intuitiveness, some people would call it. She always knew what was needed and had no problem rising to the occasions. As you know, Grandma was never shy about her accomplishments. Did you know that she played semi-pro baseball in Toronto and was paid? She played for Team Canada and was a World Series champion for seniors division. Oh right, you may have heard about that once or twice. Her accomplishments were impressive. Who knew seniors were still playing baseball and that she loved the fact that she could still do it? We were so proud of her. Multiple times she was recognized as the World Series All-Star player, and this is from the States, so that's pretty impressive. She had many things to say, which I'll keep them a little bit quiet because some of them revolve some very flowery words, and we'll remember that Grandma loved to show them up a little bit, shall we say. So as she was recognized as an all-star player, she would dedicate a special ring, to one of her family members. So if you're wondering how many, let's just say that she has one covered for every child and every grandchild, because Grandma would not be outdone to make sure that nobody was left out. And she made sure that all of us were covered in a ring. So we will wear those proudly or keep it close to our heart. Baseball is not her only sport. She played tennis, and she did in fact get to meet Jimmy Connors once in a tent, which is now at the Rogers Center. And I want to say, I think she challenged him to a match. So that's where we loved her. Only my mom could get away with that. She knew how to work a room. She was our biggest cheerleader in our support system. She was very proud of us. She loved each and every one of us with all of her heart and all of her soul. It was her greatest accomplishment that anything that we did, and she always made sure, you know what, did you make sure you checked in on that person or that friend? Or, I know my brother's giving me, I have the gift of gab. Shockingly, I don't know where that came from. Thank you, Mom, for sharing in my life. Whether it was helping my class or sharing your baseball stories in the schools I've worked in. Yes, she would come. She'd say, Sherry, I'd like to bring a couple things to your class to show them. 3 bags later, she would come walking in my school to meet 40 or 60 kids to tell her stories.
And when she'd arrive with her 3 big bags of stuff, she needed 3 tables to display it. So I will take that with me forever. She danced with everybody for her warm-up drills. She loved the song Put Me In, Coach, which is so fitting. Put me in, Coach, I'm ready to play. And I know that she is telling people what's needed and being around us at this time. May we all keep our families close. Take the time to spend with one another. Appreciate the gifts that each other share, and tell others how you feel about them. That's one thing I remember, is my mom always left the conversation with, I love you. And that's something that I need to remember to do. Our families need us. Stay positive, be well, and know that my mom's memory is a part of each of our journey's life. She is a part of us. And I leave you with a final thought from my friend Pat. I've often heard my mom interjecting throughout a conversation. I can hear her. I end up having her words and sharing her stories. I hear her voice and I see her in others. This is the thing about one's passing, that when you think someone is gone, glimpses of them remain in those that they loved. Thank you for sharing in my mom's life. Mom, thank you for being who you were. And we will remember that fondly. I want you to know, for the people even on live streaming and you guys in the room, Grandma loved you. You mattered to her. And I know that she meant something to you. Love you, Mom. May God bless you and grant you peace. Thank you.
I'd like to thank Sherry for her 16-page excerpt.
Front and back.
Yeah, front and back. And everybody live streaming, we're in difficult times right now. Not only do we have COVID, but we just lost probably the best person in the world. I'd like to thank Pat, or Nancy, for coming out and taking my whole speech. So it kind of let me sit
You have
here.
a store.
Huh? It's funny, it was the main entrance though, I tell you. But the 2 things that I can recall most about my mother, and for everybody here or watching, everybody's got a story. And every single story is out of the park. It's out of this world. Like, for an example, I like Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last. And that was the way she lived her life. It's just not garage sales and baseball and tennis. When she played tennis, she played in the regular division until a young lady came up that could kick her butt. I'm going over 35 now, right? And then she's ruled the over 35 tournaments till she got that young girl turned 35. And then she beat her. And I'm like, oh my God, sorry. But my goodness, when she beat her, it was like we won the Super Bowl. And every time my mother would take a loss, whether it be in baseball, tennis, or a card game to Matt, her face did not smile.
She was pissed.
It was, all right, let's play again. One more time, let's go. And it's at that time when you say, wow, she liked to play and have fun. I often thought if I had to spell Mady, it would be spelled F-U-N. Because that's all we had our whole time. And we could smile and take a part of her life, everyone, and please. If you see anyone around that hasn't had a good smile or a laugh, give them a Mady story. Because I said I'd never say one, but we're in Florida. We're at the buffet. She says, hey, follow me. She says, don't worry. I said, Mom, let's go. She says, no, I got this. She comes up, she goes, I just talked to the manager, I got 15% off. I said, that's great, Mom. Sorry, you're going to hear this now, but I had a 20% off coupon in my pocket. But I let her live that moment because she saved 15% by talking to the manager. And I was like, well, that's perfect, Mom. You did a great job. And do not hit me with lightning today, please. But the spirit of her will live in here forever. And it'll live up here for as long as I can, because my gosh, there's so many great stories. So please, if you're out there and you see someone, share the stories, because that's what's going to keep her alive, because it'll keep her alive in me until I go. So basically, that's all I have. I'd like to thank Nancy. That's a great start out, and I'll get you to finish it off. Thank you to everybody outside. And as again, the COVID issues, there's nothing we can help but a drive-by at the yard. Please stay in single file. Please don't get out of the car and hug. We don't want to get Grandpa a fine at the yard. Right?
Right.
But we got spruced up this morning, and thank you very much. Love yous all.
Hey, I feel like you should come around and like give us a high five all the way around. Like, you know, just kind of like, yeah, here we go.
Well, that's just awesome. I'm so glad you could have this time to just reflect and share and laugh, and obviously you're going to be doing that for quite some time. I'm going to ask you just to stand. I'm going to close with a blessing. We're going to also bless Mady into rest as well. So to each of you who are watching online, and to you, the family, and to Mady, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord grant you his peace. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Come on, Kev, hit us with some boogie woogie.
Boogie woogie, Kevin, come on.
Yeah.
Isn't that what Grandma said? Kevin, I want the boogie woogie.
Thank you.
Very nice.
We need that back.
Oh, we need it out there? Thank you.
We need that. Oh crap, it's raining.
I